because it looks like we're live over there. But yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome to another show. If this is your first time joining us live, welcome. This is a podcast where you can join the conversation. So if you have questions for us as we're talking, drop them in the chat. And oh, I forgot. Facebook makes me put like an actual title and stuff now, or it won't go. Here we go. We're live. Join us. Cool. But yeah, join us for the conversation. We're talking all about community and competition and just growth. So I am very excited about this. I am all about community and yeah, I'm just excited for this conversation. But yeah, Chris, Marshall, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hello, thanks
Good to
for
be
having
here.
us.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, like before we started recording, I was like, this is a party because I love it whenever there's like more than just me and one other guest. It's like we got three, and this is gonna be a good time. So
Awesome.
could y'all give like quick little background info about y'all, what you do, and where you're based, all that?
Yeah, well, we're based pretty close to each other. We're both in Easton, Pennsylvania, so we're practically neighbors, like 5 minutes away from one another. Which we'll probably get into how we met and stuff. But long story short, we're now business partners, where we were both photographers, and we started Shoot and Thrive, which is the education that we wanted for business when we were starting. And that's pretty much simply put, it's all encompassing, comprehensive education, but more specifically on how to run a business that brings joy and profits. Joy is always first, and purpose is always first, and profits follow.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then just again to give you a little bit from my end, he touched on Shoot and Thrive, of course, a little bit of our background, but speaking from my lens, I've been a photographer as well. As part of the past close to a decade. Actually started my photography business with my wife. Yeah, and since then it's been an awesome thing. And even today, like I'm just coming off a doubleheader weekend. It's been quite busy and stuff like that. But this is really how Marshall and I ended up actually getting to know each other, was through photography, this industry and stuff like that. So that's where like the core of like our connection really got started as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, Chris, I feel for you with that doubleheader. I get
Yeah.
those every now and then. I try and schedule to where I don't do those
Yes.
anymore because I'm like, getting closer to 40, and I'm like, my knees are just
Yeah.
not built for 20 hours over a weekend with
Yeah,
shooting and kneeling down. And yeah,
I've been starting to notice this myself. I'm in my mid 30s, and yeah, my wife and I this season in particular, we've been like, I got to get back to the gym.
yeah, I can't just count weddings as leg day anymore. But
Yes.
but yeah, no, I like that y'all, like Marshall, you mentioned in y'all's education, joy comes first and then business. And that is something that like I see a lot of educators are just like business, hustle. This is how you grow to 6-7 figures, building
Yeah.
a studio, all that kind of stuff. And that leads so quickly to burnout and
Oh, yeah.
just like dreading work. And when you can really incorporate joy into it first and be like, how can I build this business where I'm still receiving joy, like,
Yeah.
and I'm happy to go take photos, or happy to shoot a double header and just be like, yeah, you know what, another double header, I can do this, let's go.
Well, the thing that comes from somewhere, right? It doesn't just it's not just wishy-washy mental, oh, it's what I tell myself. Like I read a lot of business books in my life so far, and I've seen that no matter what industry you're in, you need purpose, and it can't just be money. Like eventually that is the formula for burnout. Like if you're just focused on money, or if that's all you can think about, not that you're necessarily like obsessed with it, but it's all that's on your mind, you're going to forget like the reason why you exist in the marketplace. What is your purpose? And it doesn't have to be super like massive either. It's not that you have to change the world or anything, but even just for me, like my purpose is to teach my couples mindfulness and what that can do on their wedding day, in their relationship. And I hope that they take some of that with them and realize how slowing down and being fully present in the moment is worth more than just for photos, but for all aspects of life. That is a big purpose, even if it's on a small scale.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. A lot of that mindset that we can like teach our clients, because I mean, it, like you said, it goes beyond just the wedding day or just the photo shoot, to where they can take that into their life and be like, oh yeah, like Marshall was talking about this, how we need to like embrace the day and like sit and
Yeah.
be slow and not rush through things. And it's like, oh, I can do that in my day-to-day life too. And I can do that like with my kids, where I'm not just rushing through to the next thing, or just like, oh man, newborn stage is rough, I can't wait till they're toddlers, or toddler stage is rough, I can't wait till they're in school.
That's
and
where
then
I'm at right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. How old's yours?
I have 2 that are 3 months old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. You are.
I have a 2-year-old myself, so like we're hearing what you're saying here.
Yeah, I just
Yep,
had twins, and we're the big part of like what we've been focusing on is practicing what I preach and being present and not wishing away the newborn trenches, like finding the joy. And,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, you're end up gonna gonna be caught in a cycle of never ending. I wish that this stage was over, and I wish that this stage was over, and before you know it,
Mhm.
you're like, where am I, and how did I get here?
Yeah. And then you're looking back and you're like, oh man, I miss the times whenever they were just like little tiny, just like laying on your chest,
Yeah.
while just passed out while you're just like chilling on the couch. And that doesn't, I mean, my 10-year-old does not lay on my chest anymore, which is great, because I would not be able to breathe. But like you look back, it's like that Andy Dwyer? No, that's Parks and Rec. Andy
From The Office.
from The Office.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, I wish there was a way that you could know that you were in the good old days before you left them. It's like, whenever you slow down, whenever you're taking time, you get to be in the good old days, and you actually get to
100%.
feel it. Yeah. No, I really love that. Okay, cool. I love that was like not even any part of our topic.
Not scripted at all.
Yeah, but like I know that we are talking about like kind of reshaping the way that we look at our quote unquote competitors in the photography industry. And I know like over probably the past 5 to 10-ish years, like the hashtag like community over competition has been a big thing. I have seen that recently, where it's like people who are still using that hashtag are just like not living it out. But like, how can we really reshape the way that we view our competitors to help us grow as photographers?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a tricky question, because obviously we're living, breathing examples of community over competition, in that like Chris and I were competitors, and our spark notes of our story is we like reached out to one another and probed each other as like kind of a, you're the only other guy that I see really going hard at the business side, so I want to keep keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer kind of thing. Exactly. But it wasn't like that. Like, he asked if I would go on a hike with him and his wife, and we did that. And very, very quickly, before you know it, we started a lead referral between the two of us. And then that turned into like weekly talks and just gauging a pulse on like what we're learning, keeping up with each other. And then it turned into like us sitting at the same table with our QuickBooks open. Like, oh, you had a down month there. Why was that? Like, when I had an up month, did I do something that you didn't do? Like, where are you getting your leads? And we filled in the gaps in each other's business because we did things differently. And that was kind of our main takeaway, was like, I would not have the business that I have now if I didn't have his insight, and vice versa. Like, we really did kind of get the all-encompassing view of business when we approached each other as not just competition. But the reason I say it's tricky is because we all do have competition. Like, if you don't have competition, you're in a monopoly. That's the only way you don't have competition. So it is a tricky thing to balance. And we teach this in our own courses, that like, yes, we believe in community over competition, but you also do have competition, and you have to stand out from it and
Yeah.
secure enough for you to like live and afford your bills and stuff. But there's a right and a wrong way to do it. And I think that being honest with that and finding that middle ground is kind of how we bring it back in a grounded way. Cause I feel like over the past 5 to 10 years, it might have been a little like a sentiment for the sake of being a sentiment for a lot of people, like just throwing it out there to save face. But if we
It's
actually
easy to say things without actually like putting action behind it.
yeah,
And that's one thing that I hope, like, if anybody's listening here, that they would take away from like the relationship dynamic Marshall and I have created over the years, because we've been on this journey together for many years with both creating Shoot and Thrive together, but also our journey in friendship, you know, which has spawned as a result of meeting and connecting. There's been a lot of great things that come out of it, but the reality is it's been a long period relationship building, and there's been a lot of action as part of it. You know, even the early days, you know, that sentiment was there of like, and I believed it, you know, a level of community over competition. The sentiment was there, but like, how do we make that actionable? So for me in my life, one of the big ways that this got represented is like actually meeting and connecting with Marshall, who I vibed with very well as a person, which I think for me was like one of the crucial pieces. And then, yeah, being able to connect on that business aspect, accept that, hey, we are competitors. I even think about it now, like he lives literally 5 minutes from me. We are competitors. He's serving a lot of the same venues, same regions. He's marketing to a lot of the same areas, but we have distinction. And that's what's beautiful about it, is that we are in a space where like my brand's different than his brand. The audience I serve is a little bit different, you know, and what people find valuable and what I offer is sometimes a little bit different than what they find in him. And those are awesome things. And those are things that come from, you know, acknowledging we are competitors. We are competing for similar types of clients, but there's ways that we can make ourselves unique, and we can both exist in the space and have an awesome, you know, life as a consequence.
Yeah. No, I really love that viewpoint of just like recognizing that you are competitors, because I feel like we can like swing way too into community to where it's just like, oh no, we're all friends, and like we're
Yeah.
not, you know, we're not in the same market. It's cool, and like all that kind of stuff.
very
Um,
ideological.
it's very ideological. It's very just like, you know, it's not realistic, because it's like, yeah, we are all competitors,
Mhm.
you know, especially if you're in the same town, if you're in the same you know, genre and industry and all that, you're going to be competitors at least a little bit. And
Yeah.
I love that you're talking about like actually looking at that and being like, okay, yeah, we are competitors. How can we grow our businesses separately, but also like the relationship between each other, to where like y'all were not just like, okay, well, you know, Chris is a competitor, Marshall's a competitor, I'm not going to be friends, we can't talk, we can't do anything. And instead just like building that friendship to where you do have community, and you're still competition at the same time, but like you said, being able to differentiate yourself from each other, because you're able to
Yes.
see, with whenever you view someone as competition, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
what do we do that is similar? What
Mhm.
makes me stand apart from them? What makes them stand apart from me? And like, you know, not in a way of just like, oh, we gotta copy everything to where we're exactly the same. It's just like looking at what makes you different, and then you can really lean into that. And
Yes.
then that's how people are going to find you and be like, oh, I resonate with you because you do X
Yeah.
differently. And yeah, I love that with looking at like your local market and competitors in that way, instead of just their competitors, or just like, I'm not gonna even look, I just have blinders on and I'm gonna do my own thing.
Mhm.
Because like it gets lonely out here,
Yeah, for
as
sure.
Does, yeah.
especially as solopreneurs. You know, I am in this office by myself. Like I don't
Yes.
have I don't have coworkers to go have lunch with or talk with over the water cooler. It's
Yeah.
just me sitting around my water bottle just talking to myself. And it can get lonely. And like having that community with competitors, really uh, really helps you to see things, like y'all said, where you were like, oh, you had a down month here, but I had an up month.
Mhm.
what did we do differently, and like helping each other to see those things. Like
Yeah,
you can even look at like audit each other's SEO and stuff like that to see things that maybe you
that
wouldn't have
definitely
seen
has happened.
otherwise. Yeah.
Yes,
Oh
that
yeah.
A
definitely
lot of
has
it.
happened. It's actually interesting. So this kind of makes me think of another aspect of our relationship dynamic we sometimes share with people is that we often talk about how we're almost like a bit of a Venn diagram where like he's a very different person than me in a lot of ways. He tends to be a little more like extroverted. I'm more introverted. Though I've been
Hmm.
coming around to like talking with more people, I guess you could say over the years. The wedding industry helps with that, you know. But
Yeah.
we have like this Venn diagram where there's like areas of overlap. You know, our appreciation for business, for example, is one thing. We have other like personal interests, music, stuff like this that we really like value. But there's also a lot of areas of like distinction. And that's one of the spaces where we found, you know, when we think of this community over competition concept, this is where we found, I think, a lot of value in our relationship is because we realized early on that we both had different things to kind of bring to the table. A lot of my expertise is actually in like SEO, blogging, you know, some branding, different things like that. He has a lot of expertise, particularly in sales, making connections with people. A lot of things where like I was able to do that stuff. You know, I was able to make sales when we met. My wife and I were having a fairly successful running business. He was also fairly successful, but when we came together and started sharing a lot of these ideas and concepts, it actually allowed us to elevate everything because now suddenly I was learning more about sales and becoming a better salesman. He was
Yeah.
learning more about some of the strategies and stuff that I've implemented, and now it's lifting up his business as well. And that's really when I reflect back on the experience we've had together, it's a beautiful thing because in the reality, we could have just stayed independent and probably been fine, but we're better for it. And now, you know, after years, the consistency that we have with our businesses, you know, some of it comes down to a lot of the conversations and things we've implemented as a result of actually meeting and connecting.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, there's so many, I can point to so many different people throughout my career that I'm just like, if we had not sat down and just had coffee and talked about things, I
Yeah.
wouldn't have known about this different thing.
Yeah.
Or like, I've told this story a few times on the podcast of like how I was 3 years into a wedding photography business before I knew what ISO was. And I had had it like cranked up the whole time. So I was like, all of my photos are grainy all the time. And I don't understand why. And it was because another friend was just like, "Oh yeah, so I set my ISO to like 100 if it's sunny outside," and I was like, "Tell me why are we doing this?"
Yeah.
And I had never played with it, didn't really know what it was or what I was doing, but
Yeah.
like there's like those little things, or there's like with y'all where like you're you have a field of expertise in certain areas, and coming together as community you're able to like uh to learn from each other in those ways, and like
Yeah.
both of you are better versions of yourselves now than you were whenever y'all met. And like it's really, I don't know, I'm all about just like growing together, and I'm always looking to like pour into people, but also to be poured into, and not just
Yeah.
like always being the educator and always being the, well, let me tell you this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But being able to sit there and just listen to someone and be like, okay, tell me why you do it this way, uh, is really valuable, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me a little bit more about like Shoot and Thrive, and like how did this come to be? I know you were talking about like this is the education that y'all wanted to see out there. What is different about Shoot and Thrive and all that?
It's a good question, and I think it comes at a good time because I know you said that the beginning little monologue we had, dialogue that we were doing was like irrelevant, but it actually ties in really, really well. Because that is like the main crux of what Shoot and Thrive was built upon. There's a reason we start with branding. So the Spark Notes
Mm,
is Shoot and Thrive is a curriculum, a full blown curriculum. My background is in teaching, and It is a curriculum of 9 courses total, and it takes you through every single pillar and foundation of business. So it removes the artistry, there's enough education out there for that, but there was nothing that we felt like really taught the pillars of business in a way that you don't have to become like the educator. That was a really, really, really big thing. So that's what it is, and it all hinges on branding, and not the colors and logos side, but like the who are you and what makes you uniquely different from every single person out there, because there is something. You can have the same colors and the same, copy and stuff, but there's something different about the way you interact with your clients, even if it's on a small scale. But if you tap into that, you can use it to build everything else in your business off of, because clearly it's what other people resonate with.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I think we get caught up way too often of just like, well, I'm going to rebrand, and I picked out this really great font, and I think it's really going to be change my business.
Fonts and colors and logos are the last like few videos in the branding course. Like the rest of it is all everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like those things aren't important at all, but they're important after a lot of the other things are put in place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like it's the flashy stuff. It's kind of like social media, where it's just like social media is fun and flashy, and it's like, oh, I made this really cool reel and I used this trending audio, and but then like you look at your website and it's just photos from 5 years ago because you haven't logged in to switch anything out, and like the copy talks about how you are a single dude and out here, and it's like, oh, I have a wife and 2 kids now, I need to like update that. And like you're always, I think a lot of us are drawn to the flashy because I mean that's what it's there for. Like social media is there to draw us in and to have us on there longer, and those brand colors and the fonts and stuff, it's fun. It's something that you're just like, ooh, colors, I'm gonna learn about color psychology, and like I like these colors together, and this is a calming one, so this is going to be good for people to want to feel trusting and all that.
Well, in our experience, most people don't even go that far. Like most people don't even like approach that. It's actually a large pain point for a lot of students, is like the idea, because it's overwhelming. Most of us aren't designers. Most of us aren't. And when you think that branding is mostly design, then you're like really averse to it until you realize like, no, the design has to be built off of something. It has to have an input to get a good output. Otherwise, it's not really doing anything. And I think a lot of people make small tweaks to their website or like change up the color palette because it feels like they did something. It feels like there's a change, and so it's like busy work almost. Like, oh, well, I'm not getting any leads or inquiries, so maybe I'll just like change up the colors on my website and pick a new font, and it's a quick change that satisfies that like itch to feel like you're making progress.
Yeah. I 100% agree, and it is that little like kind of like a little dopamine hit of just like, I did something, this should be good, I'm gonna now sit back and wait, instead of like you got to really think about your brand and who you are to people, and why should they work with you versus someone 5 minutes down the road who does a similar thing. Like what's going to set you apart? That's your brand. What are people saying about you when you're not in the room, and what do they think about you, or what do you want them to think about you, and then how can you put that out there? And it
might sound counterintuitive, but this is why like you need other people. You need, it's so easy as a single operator and a business owner. Like if you're like a super business minded person, then that doesn't bother you. Like I don't really mind, other than just some occasional loneliness, being like the one making all the decisions and stuff. But most people aren't like that. Most people like the photography, they like the art over being a business. Being a business owner is kind of like almost a necessary evil. And so when you're kind of like on your own trying to be an artist, but then also needing to make all these decisions, you're going to have blinders on, and you're going to have blind spots that somebody else is going to be able to fill you in on, and you can do the same for them. Like chances are there's a lot of people out there that could equally use a pair of eyes on, hey, if you read my about page, what would you actually learn about me? Like, and is it relevant to the fact that you're a client that wants to hire me, or is it just kind of like this is a Bumble or a Tinder profile message,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I know what TV shows you like and how you take your coffee, but I know nothing about you and your business.
Yeah, and how it helps me, how it serves me as a client wanting to pay you probably a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So like, how can we, as like the listeners who are wanting to grow, how can they grow in community? How can they grow by, talking to their competitors and just like moving forward with all this?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because a lot of places that have community these days are also filled with like a lot of drama.
Yeah.
Facebook groups and meetups aren't happening as much anymore. Ever since COVID, meetups have really dwindled down, or they're kind of just like paid events. It seems I have not really seen many meetups. So I honestly think being present on your social media in a meaningful way, and then linking with people that like you don't have to be someone that's like local in your market, right? Like I have tons of friends now that are all across the country shooting because of things like Instagram. And I think that is probably my number one recommendation, but you have to show up like earnestly, because it's going to be the people that message you or respond to a reel that you made or something because you're actually stating something intentionally, or an opinion that you have on the industry or photography or client work or whatever. I feel like that's just how you make the most meaningful connections. If you just show up generically, you get generic interactions, and those probably won't lead to very successful things like what me and Chris did.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd add to that, like actually, like intentionally seeking out those connections is valuable, but there's also a case to be made that like you shouldn't go into that with like an expectation of like this is going to lead to a business partnership, like me and Marshall, for example. Like I go back to like when we initially met. It's like my initial expectations were nothing like what things have turned into. And I think that's some of the beauty with like opening yourself up to connective opportunities like this, is because sometimes you never really know what's going to be behind the door. And I mean, speaking from my own personal experiences as well, there's been a lot of people I've met with I didn't totally vibe with, and I don't really talk to on a daily basis. But it's that one person, that changes you in some way, or maybe it's a handful or whatever, or a community. But like, I think we all have that out there that we can all find that. And sometimes it finds us when we're not even necessarily expecting it. It certainly feels that way sometimes when I reflect again on my relationship here with Marshall, where it's like I was connecting with a lot of people. I was going to a lot of different meetups, different groups. Again, I've been around a lot of people, a lot of photographers, a lot of cool people. Some people I stay in touch with, but on this level where it's literally translated into the depth of relationship I have, where he and I can meet up for like a drink, talk about life, talk about everything going on. We can also meet up and talk about our photo businesses, because those are still things important to our lives. Meet up and of course talk about like our Shoot and Thrive business, because we have this together. We have a lot of things we connect on now. But like that key is like day one, I wasn't like in there expecting something from him. Instead, I came into it with like, I talked about that Venn diagram right between us. I looked at, what do I have to offer? He has something that seems interesting to me. Maybe we can share. And I think that's maybe a takeaway here, is like shared knowledge. There's value in just literally having a conversation. And he and I, the first time we actually like properly met outside of like when we went on that hike, we set up a call, like a Zoom call or whatever, and just chatted, and then it was there where like I could have left that and been like, this guy's cool, but it's not going to be, my vibe for like a million conversations. That could have been fine. I would have been happy with that, because it's part of putting yourself out there, actually making connections. In our case, it happened to be that we got off that call and went and texted and set up another call. And then all of a sudden we're meeting and we're hanging out, and turns out we live 5 minutes away.
Yeah. It maximizes opportunity. And just to play devil's advocate to that other side, like you don't have to vibe with somebody to have a good takeaway either. There's been a lot of people that I've second shot for, and this is my other part, is like second shoot or assist as much as you can. Because when I was growing, like not only did that yield more connections and more people like in my ecosystem of my network. But I also learned a lot of what I don't want to do. You know, second shooting for people. There's been a lot of people I've second shot for that, like, observing them, you know, I get a feeling of like, ooh, I wouldn't do that. Like, and that's totally fine that they would, but it
Yeah.
helps inform me more concretely, like what I am drawn to and what I'm not and what I want to push away. And that really helps shape my business. It really helped shape and understand like how I approach photography, how I approach shooting, how I approach engaging and talking with my clients. And that's really invaluable. And I know that working for free gets a really bad rap, but like, honestly, if you're having a hard time getting any type of assisting work, second shooting work, doesn't matter if you're a family photographer, a wedding photographer, a corporate photographer, find somebody who does that stuff and just offer to be a human activated light stand, you know, like just offer to hold bags for free, count it part of your work. Like, we all have back end work we have to do that a couple times a year, and just consider it part of your like research and your market research and understanding, you know, what to do, who to talk to, how to do things.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I had the hardest time trying to find people who would let me second shoot with them whenever I first started. So like for the first 5 years of my business, I only shot for myself and I never second shot. And then once I started doing that, there was almost like a little bit of like, well, but I've been in the industry for 5 years. Isn't that like below me to go second shoot with someone else? But yeah, like you were saying, the knowledge that I was able to glean off of other people, of like things that I saw that they were doing, that I was like, ooh, this is great. Like, I wouldn't have thought about that. I'm gonna think about that next time. And other things that I'm just like, oh, I'm definitely not doing that. That is that is not for me. That is for them, and I'm gonna leave it here. And like it was also a really great opportunity to build relationships with those photographers and with other vendors that like I may not have worked with before or been working with, you know, in the same circles. But yeah, no, I love that. Like, if you have that feeling of, well, I'm not going to second shoot with someone else because I've been doing this for 10 years and like that's, you know, below me. It shouldn't be. And
Yeah.
I still
go
second
on
shoot.
out there. Yeah,
I
me
take
too.
I take 15
love it.
weddings a year as my cap, and I'll still second shoot a handful, either to like link up with somebody that I want to link up with, or just keep my skills fresh from like a throw myself out of my comfort zone kind of thing. Like,
Right.
you know, it doesn't even have to be about like the money or beneath you or above you. It really is just a part of my like ongoing education, I would call it.
I mean, that's another example of like the community piece that we're talking about on this episode, right? Is like that's a simple way to connect and create community. Like, you're a photographer, you have this skill, go second shoot for somebody. You have no responsibilities outside of the shoot. Half the time, like I've second shot for like Marshall as an example. When I've gone to weddings with him, I'm literally hanging out. I mean, I'm taking photos. I'm taking good quality photos for him, but like, dude, we're hanging out. We're having a good time. We're chatting, you know, between like all the stuff where we are taking photos. Like, it can be a good time. Like, it depends how you frame it, right? Like, there's so many people who I think it's a little egotistical to be like, this is like below me. I can't do this. And maybe I wonder if people like sometimes maybe almost take it as like they're not successful enough or something if they have to go back to something like that, when that isn't the reality really at all. Like,
Right.
like I'm well off, but like I'd be happy to do it, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think for me personally, it was a like I'm a recovering people pleaser and perfectionist. And like,
do you ever recover from that?
I don't think you ever do, but I'm aiming that way. And like it was the thought of like, what would other people think if they were just like, oh wait, I thought John had a successful business. He's second shooting. I thought that's what you do whenever you're like in your first couple of years. And like, don't worry about what other people, because some people might think that, and they're not the people for you. And and other people are just going to be like, oh cool, and that's it. They're just going to move on, because I find out that some of my friends second shoot with other people. I'm like, oh cool, and that's it. I don't think any less or any more of them from doing that. And like y'all both said, this is a great way to build community and just like learn from other people, and especially if they're like friends that you have either seen at networking events or at a conference or something, and then you get to go work together. It's like, oh, this is fun. Like we just get to hang out and like we're chatting over dinner instead of sitting in a closet eating dinner out of your lap. You're sitting together in a closet eating dinner.
Yes.
And it's a lot more enjoyable that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh man, guys, this has been so much fun. I have really enjoyed this conversation. Before we like wrap up and let people know where to follow y'all and connect and all of that, there's something that I like to do where we talk about what we're loving this week, and it can be literally anything: a new book, TV show, movie, new food, whatever. What are y'all loving this week?
What am I loving?
What are you loving, Chris?
I love my wife and my son. This is public facing.
Great answer.
I
Great
love my
answer.
wife and my son and my daughter. I had to one up you there.
Of course, yes, twins versus Trust me, he's made it very clear that having twins is harder.
I have not said it like that. I've said raising two
like
at once
that's
is
kind
3
of a
times the
given.
work.
It's fair. It's not wrong, but it's also like it's not like having one is easy.
No. I've prefaced it with that every time.
I
I've
know.
said having one is hard, not to diminish it, but having 2 at once is painful. It's not terrible.
Yeah,
but it's gotten better now. What am I loving this week? I'm loving editing alongside podcasts and audiobooks. I've listened to like 6 hours of information a day while editing or doing other work. And I used to listen to music a lot, and I thought I'd never be able to get rid of that. Because for me, I'm very emotionally tied to music. Music is my number one passion, creating it and listening to it. So for me, it was always my comfort zone to like put on music and explore new albums and stuff. But I've been really, really enjoying just being informed and learning and expanding my. I didn't think I'd be able to do the deep paying attention that I usually do. Like I usually reserve audiobooks and podcasts for the car when I have nothing else to focus on other than driving.
Yeah.
But I've been surprised at how much you can actually like focus and pay attention to that kind of stuff while editing. And I know there's a ton of people that do this, and I'm a little late to the game, but I've been loving that. It's really nice to feel like you're doing 2 things for the same amount of time. I feel like I'm educating myself and doing ongoing fulfillment.
Right. Yeah. Are there any podcasts or audiobooks that you're just like, this is really great, you should check this out?
I mean, audiobooks, I balance a lot between either history, politics, business, self-help. Honestly, one of the biggest ones that comes to mind, it's a bit of a, not a challenging read. It's just very information heavy, but it's called Mindset by Carol Dweck. That is an extremely good book. I think it's like 20 hours long on an audiobook, but it's a psychology book that basically goes through many different use cases of how changing your mindset in the right way can genuinely force a result. And it's not just like a wishy-washy thought like of, oh, change your mindset. I'm somebody that when I see studies and I see these types of things like concretely evidence-based, it flips a switch in your brain that lets, not the placebo effect, but like lets that, the neurons engage in getting the result because you fully believe it.
It's like not that, like it's almost like a skepticism wall that you're just like, I don't know though. And then whenever you actually see the study, you're like, oh, okay, let me take down that wall. Then I actually believe, it's not just like, like woo kind of like, oh, if you just think this in your mind, then you will.
And this could be like a whole other hour podcast, but like to sum up in 30 seconds, like it's tricky when it has to do with your mind's capability of believing in itself. But like one of the biggest experiments was the Asch experiment, or not the Asch experiment. It was two Japanese researchers, but regardless, they had a study of boys that were severely allergic to poison ivy, and on one they put a harmless plant and told them that it was poison ivy, and on the other arm they put poison ivy and told them that it was a harmless plant. And something like 90% of the boys developed an inverted rash, where like the harmless plant just showed a poison ivy rash on that arm because they believed it was poison ivy. And meanwhile, the thing they're highly allergic to didn't yield a result. That just shows you the power that your mind has when you believe something. So when you unlock that kind of part of thinking, and then you read this book, like it just shows case study after case study about how things that we tell ourselves, the way that we speak to ourselves, what we believe we're capable of, will directly impact with significant results your outcome. So very good book.
Okay.
Check it out.
Yeah,
Man,
I am adding
Marshall-
that to my list.
Hearing Marshall talk about this makes me just feel lame.
I also love
what
my
have-
wife
what
and
have
kids.
Yeah, I'm like, what have I been into? It's crazy.
Yeah, well, Chris, I'm with you. Mine's gonna be much more lame than that. I this week I'm loving K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
a
yeah.
lot of people
Okay.
are getting into this.
Golden.
One of the grooms at my
Golden.
wedding had this on. Yeah, during his like.
Did you hear the
cocktail.
Our Last Night edition?
No,
Yeah,
I have not.
They did a cover of it. I don't know if you like that kind of
Okay.
music, but
Yeah.
check it out.
No,
Good
I
cover.
will look that up right after this. But yeah, it has taken over our house for like the past 2 or 3 weeks, and it's funny, and the songs are like super catchy. Like I will just find myself like humming along just throughout the day. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, well that's not normally the music that I listen to, but it's just catchy stuff, and I'm just like really enjoying seeing like our girls are the youngest ones, and they have just like really been taken over, and just they want to be warriors now, and
There you go.
and yeah,
Nice.
it's fun time. I also love my wife and kids. We'll just full circle, all three of us. We love
Love
this.
Nice.
Yeah,
Man,
Well,
we're all earning browning points.
I
guess,
know, so
doing
many
this,
brownie
right?
points. This is great. We're gonna have to send this episode to our wives. But yeah, tell us a little bit about like where people can find y'all online, social media, all the places, work with y'all, learn from you, all the things.
Yeah, our
Absolutely.
Instagram is at Shoot and Thrive, all one word, shoot and thrive, spelled out. And that's also our website is shootandthrive.com. Honestly, Instagram, we're very responsive to DMs. There's links in bio and everything. So that's probably a good spot to just stay in contact with everything that we do and what we're launching. We're actually launching a 2-person in 2-day in-person workshop event that is totally free. That basically is all 9 courses, which is like 458 videos long, boiled down into 2 days, trying to give as much information as possible through the whole ecosystem. So if the price point or your time is something that is limited, then I wouldn't miss that. That's going to be a really, really awesome event.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Sweet. Okay. Well, cool. I will have all that linked in the show notes, so everyone can check out everything and connect with y'all. And yeah, thank y'all so much for being on the show. I really enjoyed getting to chat with you today.
Thank you. It's been awesome to
Yes,
be
too.
here.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in live and watching the replay, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye, y'all.